It was super hard to understand what every tier is doing, and it was super hard to to do something. If you wanted to, I don't know, to for example, give five of a feature, or for example, you wanted to remove some feature from one tier and put it in another, it was like practically impossible job. You just couldn't do it. We decided that we need to build like a single platform to manage all the entitlements that we have in Wix. I knew exactly what are all the pain points, like I experienced them for years. Without this infrastructure, it would be next to impossible to support this expansion that we had in the past, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years. And with this new infrastructure, it's like a group coming to me and saying, hey, we want to start selling this new cool product that we developed. Tac, tac, tac. I configure everything. If they come to me with the whole information, I give them a purchase link within 15 minutes. I'm Sergei. I actually started at Wix over 6 years ago now. My first position at Wix was in performance marketing, okay, doing acquisition on YouTube. And then I began asking questions like, why this cost such and such? And maybe we should raise prices here and there. One day, my manager came to me and said, this guy who is managing the pricing page is leaving. And would you like to take his position? Long story short, I took it, and then I built a small team around it. Okay, a team who is working full time on monetization. I call them monetization managers, and that's it. The rest is history. It's a bit funny that I'm talking about it as like ancient history, but I do think that in terms of pricing management, 4.5 years is like indeed kind of ancient history, because like the industry changed so much. I'll take you on a short history lesson about Wix. About 10, 12 years ago, life was pretty simple. Okay, we had a pretty simple offering, which included 6, 7 features across 4 different plans, like 4 different tiers. And we had a very early version of an entitlement system. Okay, I'll call it occasionally entitlement benefit, because entitlement is like a hard word to pronounce. We had a very early version of an entitlement system, and it was basically a table with products and the columns that say true or false for different stuff. Okay, something very like ancient, but it worked. And in addition to that, we had another infrastructure for benefits or entitlements, which was used for the TPAs. Okay, third-party applications that came to build their applications for the Wix infrastructure, and were sold separately on the app market. Okay, so we basically had those two infrastructures. And then things started to get complicated. Wix began to develop their own apps and put them on the app market infra. Now, first of all, let's understand the downside of it. On the one hand, we have our core product, let's call it core product, the entitlement system, where we had at least a table with true false columns. Okay, so we had kind of sense what every product is delivering. Now, on the app side, because the system was designed for external developers, you have no idea what are the benefits. Okay, the benefits are stored on the developer's code. When we began to combine those two entitlement systems to provide our users more benefits, like we started to add additional applications to the core products. We now have 2 tables, okay? One with the kind of transparent capabilities, and one with the TPA names. I actually had an Excel sheet telling me what every TPA should deliver to the user. So at least I will be sure that what we are promising on the pricing page will actually be delivered to the user. And later on, they even added a third table of benefits, but you already get the complexity. Yeah, it was like spread all over. Some of the benefits were on our side, some benefits were hidden somewhere in the code base of another group that's sitting somewhere in Wix. Then came, the straw that broke the camel's back. One day, management decided that they want to take several apps that Wix developed and are sold separately and combine them into like kind of one mega app. And now you need to understand that this mega app had 3 tiers. Every tier was combined of 3 different apps, and those 3 different apps in their turn also have 2 to 3 different tiers. And the benefits of every app and every tier are spread across different groups in Wix. So it was super hard to understand what every tier is doing, and it was super hard to do something. If you wanted to, I don't know, to for example, give 5 of a feature, or for example, you wanted to remove some feature from one tier and put it in another, it was like practically impossible job. You just couldn't do it. You had like you had what those apps are giving, and you don't touch it. You can't do anything with it. And it was not convenient, to say the least. It was like super hard to sell it because you couldn't change practically nothing. You could say, okay, I have this and that's it. You can't touch it. And after this experience, we decided that we need to build like a single platform to manage all the entitlements that we have in Wix. You can't have benefits that are hard coded into someone's code base. Okay, it needs to be transparent. Like the core things that we wanted to tackle, it needs to be single source of truth. Okay, there is only one place to which you go and see which benefits are connected to what product and to what user. The second concern, and this is like something that came after we built this mega app, is fast go to market. Okay, if you see the market needs a product and you have these capabilities, you shouldn't like spend 3-4 months into trying to combine it into one product. Okay, it should happen fast, super fast. Like I'm talking about matter of hours. You need to be ready with a new product in a matter of hours, and it shouldn't be a headache for it. Every party that integrated with the platform, we advised them to be as agnostic as possible to a product, because we wanted to have the ability to repackage benefits into whatever we want. Okay, because maybe today we are selling one product, but tomorrow we can decide that we are splitting this one product into 3 products. And if you need to change your the front end of your entire application for that, only because you're repackaging into a different product, it's like not selling you a lot. Okay, but if the benefits themselves are implemented in a way that they're agnostic to in which product they are delivered, then you have maximum flexibility. Okay, you have no problem to repackage it into whatever you want. The last thing was that we wanted it to be like, let's call it as dev free as possible. Okay, so that if a marketing manager, monetization manager, product manager, whoever you want to sell new product, they don't need developers, because putting things in sprints, backlogs, putting it on a Gantt roadmap, it's like things that don't happen fast. And I think, yeah, that one of the really key considerations was like, how do we go to market fast with anything we want? The first product manager who handled this platform wasn't me. I was the design partner. Basically, maybe not in the design phase, but in the integration phase, it was a cross-company project, definitely. Like everybody had to move from these old infrastructures to deliver their capabilities based on this single source of truth that we built. In the design part, I would say it was mainly me and the groups that delivered the capabilities for this mega app I described earlier, the one that broke the camel's back. The MVP, it took us about 3 to 4 months. It was pretty quick, like surprisingly quick. It was developed, if I remember correctly, by 3 developers. The first thing that we did is we moved this, mega app. We broke it down into capabilities, entitlements, repackaged it, broke this, I don't know how to call it, this monster into benefits, repackaged it, and started using the platform. Okay, so this initial phase took us, I don't remember, but I think about 4 months. Okay, let's call it 4 months. The MVP allowed you to basically to query eligibility. Okay, we had the APIs and events that different parts could listen or call us and decide should they allow the user to get this benefit or not. But we were missing a lot of other parts that especially concern like subscription management. Okay, for example, stuff like cancellation and trial periods and money back policies and different transfer accounts to different users, stuff that are like subscription specific to Wix and not like benefits platform. So this part like wasn't worked out properly in the MVP. So to make this platform good enough for Wix core product, well, I don't know how to put it lightly, but eventually it took us 3 years, okay? This is the bottom line. It took us 3 years. But the thing is, like in big corporations, this project lost focus, gained focus, like kind of we solved the main pain point with the MVP, and it was like, okay, so now it's not so urgent. But it was obvious to everybody like that we can't live with now 3 entitlement systems, okay? Because we had the core entitlements. You remember the table with the true or false. We had the TPAs, and now we had this also new system. And like everybody understood that it can't live forever. Like in the last year and a half, like we put full power on it, and we managed to release it for our Wix core products. Yeah, it replaces everything. It's so convenient, you can't believe it. Without this infrastructure, it would be next to impossible to support this expansion that we had in the past, I don't know, 1.5, 2 years. And with this new infrastructure, it's like a group coming to me and saying, hey, we want to start selling this new cool product that we developed. Tac, tac, tac. I configure everything. If they come to me with the whole information, I give them a purchase link within 15 minutes. If we wouldn't have this system, it was like a hack on a page, on a hack on a page, let's find a solution now.
Yeah, and changing something is basically impossible because if you touch it, you're afraid to break anything else.
Exactly. So it's like completely a game changer. The implementation of a feature still needed to involve dev, yeah, because you give them some kind of ID and they need to put a gate in their code. But this is what basically the dev involvement ends. Basically, this platform, wow. Basically, my idea, my vision, my product vision behind this platform is to make, like I call it orchestration platform, but people laugh on me about it. I super love this name because the idea is that it's going to be like one-stop shop for everything monetization related. Like you don't need to go to other systems, you don't need to developers, you don't need anybody. You go to a single back office, configure whatever you want, and pushing it to production. That's it. Today, it already allows me to do a side of feature management, quantities management, because features can be of different kinds. It can be Boolean feature, quantity feature, quantity feature with the reset period, freemium quantities. Like there are different possible configuration to features. But let's put it aside for a second And let's keep in mind that we have like other things that we need except of benefits to properly manage monetization. For example, it allows you to configure notifications. Okay, you want to send an email to user on purchase event or on renewal event, or you want to send him a SMS when his card is declined. Okay, hey, go to this link and update your payment method. Or you want to push them a dashboard notification, mobile notification, all this kind of stuff. You can configure, for example, different offers per country. For example, you want one product to be sold for the United States and another for India. Why? Different reasons. For example, you want to price them differently, you want different features, because let's keep in mind that many times features cost money, like to the platform. You can configure sales, okay, with this platform. For example, tomorrow I want to launch a sale that will give 30% discount for this and this product. You can manage translations. For example, this feature called this in English, this in Italian, this product called this in Hebrew, and this in Spanish. It's also done by the platform. For the billing, we actually have a different team, so we integrate to the billing infrastructure. So we are kind of a consumer of the billing infrastructure. We also had handling it internally in Wix, but like it's not part of the platform. It's another team that we integrate to their product. I feel like it's already impressive, like when I'm saying all of it out loud. Yeah, but you know, I think this is a proper place to say, you know, thank you for the other groups, development group in Wix. No, because honestly, like it sounds a lot, right? But if I had to develop all those capabilities from scratch, like it would probably take me several years. But one of the benefits of working in a large company is that you can, you know, start looking for different services that people build, and you can try to repurpose them and use them for your benefits. And so actually I had only, you know, kind of integration and adjustment work, but basically all those capabilities that are not related directly to the platform, I just, you know, found them across Wix and integrated them into my platform.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, it's the things that you described hint on the complexity of pricing. There are so many edge cases that you need to take into account, not even leave alone edge cases, just general thoughts about different purchase routes and what the system needs to support and what you need to think about and what you need to cover. It takes a very in-depth pricing knowledge in order to cover all these parts. How much did you know from the beginning to define, and how much did you learn as you were moving forward with the platform?
Well, first of all, I when I took the position of managing the pricing, like I knew zero about it, absolutely zero. And I think one of the one of the factors that allowed me to successfully take over the product of this platform is that once you're a pricing manager, like at least let's think about 4.5, 5 years ago, when it wasn't like a significant thing, you know, you many times you didn't have a proper dedicated development team, you didn't have back office support, so basically you had to know everything around it because many things you did by yourself. So you, first of all, you know all the bits and bytes of pricing and how it works in your company, and you look also in other companies and other infrastructures, and you learn. I knew exactly what are all the pain points, like I experienced them for years. So I assume that if I'll solve it for myself, I'll solve it for everybody. Because like managing the the pricing of core products of Wix, it's like you have the most edge cases that you can possibly imagine. Upgrade, downgrade, proration, like everything. There will definitely be changes in the future. I would say it's kind of a living organism. you know, it's evolve. But the key thing like that I can say here is that we are trying to build it as like open platform, we call it. I believe it's a thing. And so that if you want to build on top of it, to add new capabilities, to integrate with new things, with new services, with new endpoints, with new APIs, it should be easy. Okay, it shouldn't be a quarter project. It should be 2 sprints. Okay, no more than that. And I think that if you build the platform correctly, if you're really doing a good job without like patching things here and there because we will make it quicker, I think it's a general rule for that. I mean, not only for that, because I know that making things open and flexible cost you more dev effort, okay? Cost you even more product effort. But I think if you look at it as a strategic project for the long run, it's definitely worth it. Because today, it will cost you extra week. In a year, it will cost you extra quarter. Like, really in this magnitude. I'm not exaggerating.
For people in our audience that now are hooked and say, I want to also build something like that myself. It's probably a very, very broad question. But if you would have to give them any thing from your insights, from your learnings for engineers thinking about building their own pricing infrastructure, what would you say to them?
Good question. I would divide the answer into 2 parts. Okay. One is more related to product, probably. The different is more related to engineering. So for product, once you design this platform, you're doing the platform product, try to assume as little as possible. Okay, I know it's generally a good rule, but really, even if you have a design partner, if you have several of them, you will always miss stuff. There will always come a use case that you didn't think of, and if you assume constraints, it will be a problem to change it later. Like we experienced it. For example, I can give example that we experienced it. Okay, just to spice it up. So once we started to build this platform, we assumed that user can have only one benefit per, we call it context. Okay, context can be whatever you want. Okay, in the case of Wix, for example, we're a website building platform, so our context is website. So we assume that you can have only one benefit per context of the same like type, same string. But then we actually missed a huge part that's called add-ons, because you can have an add-on with exactly the same benefit with larger quantity, and like it's messing our platform until today. Like we allowed it for the sake of giving a solution, but it's still like biting us in the ass in a lot of places. So this is an example to try not to assume things. Keep it as open as possible. To an extent, yeah. Too open is also like you'll never get out of it. And the other thing that I can suggest is might also sound obvious, but I would say given you decided to build it, yeah, it's not a small project, but given you decided to build it, don't treat it as a side project. Okay, the fact that users are not really exposed to this, and this is mainly an internal platform, it doesn't make it a side project. Because from my personal experience, moving to a new infrastructure for pricing, for benefits, for subscriptions is a huge project, and it doesn't happen too often. So I would bet that the pricing system that you are building / integrating with will outlive most of the other projects and features that you develop for your core product. So I guess just treat it with respect, document it properly, and that's it. And future generations will thank you for that.
It's a great tip. I think that's actually a really, really great tip. That often pricing is taking a back burner because it's not the core product, as you say. But in the end, it's maybe not the heart of the product, but it's still heart of the company, because money is in the end the reason why all the companies exist in the first place.
Exactly. And also keep in mind that like you will become the ambassador of this platform, because once people don't understand something, once the documentation is not good enough, once something is not clear, you will be the person that will get the email, the Slack, the invitation to management meetings. Like you're going to be responsible for that. So try to build it with respect. Try to build it and treat it as if it's another one of the core projects of your company.